Hello, what's up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and I'm here to, well, I already watched and reviewed Ocean's 11, so I might as well do Ocean's 12. Ocean's 12 is a 2004 film that is a sequel to Ocean's 11. It's once again directed by Steven Soderbergh, and the plot. Before I get into what I think of this movie, is it that much inferior to the first film? I will say this. This has a decent premise. Premise wise, like if you're gonna do a sequel, which I don't, I guess they sort of set up and tease that there's more to the story, that there is a continuation, there is sort of a cliffhangery ending of that first film, but you didn't necessarily need to do a sequel. But if you were to do a sequel, this on paper makes sense for the way to go. Andy Garcia, who is pissed, beyond pissed, that his casinos were robbed, he gets help in finding out each and every single one of the people who did it. All of our characters and cast from the first film, they get caught, they get found out by Garcia, but instead of turning them in, he blackmails them basically into saying, hey, you're going to not only get my money back and give it back to me, but you're going to give me the money with interest. So they now owe like $190 million. They have to go around and rob several places in order to pay him back. Now, what I think of Ocean's 12 is the movie is fine. The movie is okay at best. I don't love it. I don't like it nearly as much as the first film. I think there is something going on here. I don't know if it was laziness, because I don't want to just come right out and say, the meanest things about it, because I know some people hate this movie. I don't hate this movie. I just feel like plot-wise, it fell apart. I think plot-wise, it started out interesting and then petered off, and they didn't really know what the hell to do for the last half of this movie. The last half of this movie does bring it down a lot. Look, the cast, it is what it is. There are still some good moments with this cast, like George Clooney as Danny Ocean, like Brad Pitt, who seemingly now is in the same spot, the same position that George Clooney was in the first film. George Clooney was all about trying to get Julia Roberts back so damn bad that he almost screwed up the mission. He almost screwed up the operation, the heist, and put his people in jeopardy. Brad Pitt's now doing the same, because you get a cool backstory moment, especially the opening scene of him in a past relationship that he had with Catherine Zeta-Jones. She is a detective, but while he was with her, he was, of course, robbing and stealing things. Couldn't tell her about it when she was about to find out what he was doing. He bailed. He left. She was in love with him, though, so the fact that she's now back investigating these robberies that he's a part of, feelings come back, tensions come back, but also her knowing that he is who he is, kind of sort of wanting to catch him for closure. I think that element of the story might have been the most interesting. I almost wish they spent more time developing that. I thought Catherine Zeta-Jones, acting-wise, was really good. But again, I think her character just becomes like, hey, the love interest for Brad Pitt, but that's fine. Julia Roberts plays Tess, who... The first movie, I said that she was there to be the object of George Clooney's desires and affections, and that's fine, She's a good actress, so yeah, she probably could have done more. This movie felt like, hey, let's do more with her. But the more that they did with her, I thought was too silly, too goofy. It almost is like, hey, we're all these Hollywood elite level actors. We're all having fun. We're all hanging out. So let's do this whole sequence where Julia Roberts, her character, pretends to be Julia Roberts. Because, hey, they kind of look alike. So Julia Roberts is playing Tess, who's pretending to be Julia Roberts. And she goes into this hotel. It's this whole sequence of her pretending to be Julia Roberts. Bruce Willis sees her, which, it's always great to see Bruce Willis cameo in anything. But just everything with him trying to figure out if it's her trying to make it seem like she is Julia Roberts, Matt Damon being her agent who's trying to hurry her along, and then it's very silly, it's very goofy. I get idea wise, it probably would have worked better as like a Saturday Night Live sketch or something. I don't know, but for the amount of time that it goes on, for the length that it's in this movie, it just again wasn't needed, wasn't necessary. Andy Garcia is back as Terry. Like I said, you get so many characters: Matt Damon, Don Cheadle, Bernie Mac, Carl Reiner, everyone basically from the last film. And I mean, you also have Vincent Cassel, who's one of the villains. So I guess his part in here was pretty important. But I think this movie, it's the middle of the road, really. If you look at the trilogy of Ocean's movies, it's one of those films that if you're gonna watch them, it's like you have to kind of get through it to get to the third film. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's god awful. I just feel like it's not as good as it could have been. It's not as good as it should have been. It doesn't hold up to that first Ocean's movie. And I'm not going to really get into, spoiler-wise, details and the beat-for-beat moments of the end of this movie. Because I talked about the Julia Roberts stuff. And I guess that's my biggest complaint. But also, the way how this movie wraps up, the first film had a nice surprise and a nice twist on how they pulled off the heist and how they one-upped Andy Garcia, outsmarted him, and got the money and did what they did. It was very clever and very fun to watch, fun to see them pull it off. This movie, the way how they go about ending this was so what? Was so huh? I mean, either I'm just dumb, which, hey, it's very possible. I'm sure people will tell me that I am dumb in the comments, and that's fine. But it's mostly just something that felt forced, felt like we're just trying to one-up and outsmart the first film, but in doing that, it comes off more over the top or more not realistic and out of the realm of possibility. And I'm sitting there just going, couldn't we have done something smarter? Couldn't we have done something better? I didn't want to come off like I was ranting and raving and saying this sucked, because I don't feel that way. But I did feel like rewatching this. This is my second time watching it compared to the first movie, that there's something missing, there's something lacking. There's a certain cleverness that's not really there in the script. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below if you too have seen Ocean's 12. What do you think of it? Do you like it more than I do? Or do you agree that it wasn't where it should have been? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!